Welcome, fans, to episode 101 of Rangers Ed, presented by Lucarelli Law. If you're in Florida and need a lawyer, call Lucarelli Law and tell them the boys at Rangers Ed sent you. I'm here with my co-host, Little Ed. What's up, bud?
How we doing? I'll let Coach Ed go a little more in depth from our successful weekend as Stony Brook coaches, but I went almost 34 years without losing one of my teeth from a hockey incident, and it happened on the bench Saturday night. I caught it as a coach, not even a player. I caught an errant stick right here on the chin and almost knocked out a few chiclets. Luckily, I was able to turn in time, I guess, or something, and it caught more of my jaw as opposed to my teeth. But it was a very scary moment in the moment. I had to check them. I was like, oh my God, if I just lost my teeth, that would be a very call up Dr. Silly over there in Manhattan.
Well, the way you started that story, I thought for sure it was going to end with you losing a tooth, and it did.
I know. I got all of them, but I got a nice little bruise on the inside of my mouth, and it's a little swollen still. So
what you could have said was, I went 34 years in hockey without losing a tooth, and that streak stays alive.
Yeah.
Still have not lost a tooth.
Yep.
10 years as a coach.
But you guys had a good weekend?
Yeah, we're on a nice little run from going first year coaching, not winning a game, to
having
about 5-1 or 6.
We had 10 players in the roster first year, and now we're 5-1, 5-0 in league play, I guess.
Wow,
and,
it's probably the
1-4-0 in league play, I guess.
What? Coach had implemented the 1-3-1 into the.
No, not at all. It's just a matter of the team coming together. We got some skilled players this year. We got a nice crop that came in and picking up the pace.
I wouldn't sell yourself short. I think the forecheck has a lot to do with our success that we've been teaching them.
You running a system?
Not the 1-3-1. It's more of a 1-2-2. I guess we'll call it. A little basic, but has a little twist to it. Maybe Coach Ed will have to draw that one up next week.
Well, don't tell all the opponents, just
well, it's true.
Keep it close to the vest. You always complain when
I'm like Vince Lombardi. You can know what's coming, you still have to execute it. You got to beat it.
There you go.
That's Coach Ed over there with his patented whiteboard set up.
It's no secret to what teams do. It's a matter of players executing and players making decisions to beat that execution or whatever the case is. NHL hockey in general is a copycat sport. You notice, when in the NHL, when they started that power play breakout that I hate, every team does it.
Yep.
It's a copycat sport. They share drills. Vince, what's his name? The coach that I went to the seminar with. They share drills. It's just a shared sport, and it's a matter of execution. There's no sequence in football. There's plays they don't want to tell what's going on. They hide things, but
oh my God, did you see that? Did you see that? Speaking of football, the coach of the Broncos, Sean Payton, they took a still shot from the TV. Mikey, you probably saw this, and he's going like this, holding his playbook like this, covering his mouth while he's talking, and he's got all the plays listed out with the schemes and everything all in the playbook, and the video feed picks it up. People were zooming in, and they had the whole Broncos playbook.
What did he have it backwards?
I guess. I saw it online. I was like, oh my God, man. There's some crazy
maybe he was doing it on purpose, so now they know his plays, and now he's going to fake the play. And
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? I think that with the TV and stuff, it's harder to hide it, Oh.
Since we love our movie references, I saw that the Arizona kicker, the guy held the ball for him, laces in.
Yeah, Matt Prater was not a happy kicker.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
And he missed the field goal?
Oh, he shanked it horribly.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. Ray Finkel. So, yeah.
We got Mikey Produces over there, no longer a white wall. He's got the flag up. What's up, Mikey?
Absolutely. Flying high. What's up, boys? Ready for a good episode.
Not much. We got to congratulate our boy Joey, the historian of our podcast. Goes back and finds all the quotes and everything. Big congratulations to Joey and his new wife Kate on their recent nuptials.
I believe Kate.
Congrats, guys.
If I remember correctly, I believe Kate's an Islander fan too. That makes it even more intriguing.
I think you're right.
Opposites attract, Coach.
I don't know if Joey wanted the public to know that, but I guess cat's out of the bag. It is what it is.
Well, he brought it to our live show last year, and it was made known. So
that's fair. But yeah, he promised us. He hasn't been listening. He didn't want to lie because he's been too busy preparing for the wedding and everything. But once he gets back from his honeymoon, he's going to be fully caught up and back on track as the historian. So, Joey, I'm holding you to it, kid. Holding you to it.
Yeah. I want to hear about that honeymoon too. Everyone I know they go on a honeymoon. It's like, oh, I went to Thailand, or I went here, I went there, and
little Ed knows
my honeymoon was a drive down the road.
Yeah, crashing and Lizzie crashed.
COVID ruined like everything.
Where did he go? Where did Joey go?
Hawaii.
Nice. Yeah, see, there's.
I'm not sure which part exactly, but definitely
That's where Hawaii. That's where Corey is.
Nice.
Maybe they'll meet up.
Oh man! Well, congrats, Joey. We can't wait to have you back as a listener and ragging us on social media with some bold prediction that went wrong, something like that. But
I wonder how many people in Hawaii, like at a given time, are actually citizens, and how many are honeymooners.
Well, Coach, in about the early 90s, I think, maybe it was mid 90s, this thing was invented called the internet. And it has a ton of information on it, including
I'm just curious of that
population.
Like how many people on the island right now, this week, are there on their honeymoon?
It's probably a lot. There's a lot of tourism in Hawaii, so I'm sure it's closer than I'm joking around, but I'm sure it's closer than we think. But all right,
Mike, you looked that up.
Yeah, Mike, I want the population of Hawaii and the amount of honeymooners at any given time in Hawaii. Okay.
At any given time.
Coming right up.
All right. While he's looking that up, let's shift over into our new segment, Jersey Profiles, sponsored by Oscar's Pro Stitch Hockey.
Our buddy Oscar, a huge Rangers fan himself, started his company by stitching his own blue shirts. Once he perfected his craft and started to fall in love with his work, the man started to grow. Oscar stitches every jersey with love and dedication to authenticity, which never disappoints. His talent is hard to find in any store out there. Are you like Cousin Ed? You have a lingering jersey curse that every player he gets a jersey of gets traded or injured and hurts the Rangers team? You want to change things up? You want to take an Eric Lindros jersey and make it a vintage Ken Hodge jersey in the late 70s? Got an old jersey collecting dust in your closet? Want to throw your name on the back and add a nice number of one of your favorite players? You can bring it back to life with a brand new kit at Oscar's Pro Stitch. So head on over to Oscar's Instagram at Oscar's PSH. That's OSCARS PSH to check out the countless tarps he's already done and to place the order for his next one that possibly can post on Instagram and get ready to wear it to the next Ranger game or any event that you have coming up. Tell them the boys from Rangers Ed sent you and receive a special discount at Oscar's Pro Stitch Hockey. Go get them, Rangers.
All right, so according to data from the Hawaii Tourism Authority and the U.S. Census Bureau, the annual number of tourists from the U.S. alone is 5 times higher than the population of Hawaii. So that's pretty amazing.
Jersey Profiles.
Oh yeah, Jersey Profiles. So sorry.
Thank God for the internet.
Unbelievable.
The internet.
Anyway, episode 101. So jersey number 1, our profile is of course Eddie Giacomin, the 1970-71 Vezina Trophy winner. He led the Rangers to the finals in 1972. He was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1987. The 5-time All-Star at 267 wins as a Ranger, 2.74 goals against average, and a 905 save percentage. Coach, the night Eddie came back with Detroit, how old were you when that happened? You must have been like 10, 11?
What year was it?
75?
What? I was 12 years old, but I remember it. I don't think I was there. I really can't remember, but I remember seeing it on TV, and the place was going crazy. You forgot to mention his name. I don't think you mentioned it, his numbers in the rafters either in that intro.
It's on the screen though.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm getting criticized for my little.
I'm just letting you know. It's just an amazing. I mean, look at that picture on the card that you have. For fans that can't see it, I mean, look at the equipment. It looks like he's just wearing regular shoulder pads.
Yeah,
I know. Isn't that wild?
And he did play in the no mask era. Originally, he started his career.
So what was that? It was March 15th, 1989. His jersey went up in the rafters.
2 years after the Hall of Fame induction. Yeah, so he was one of the first Rangers to have their jersey in the rafters. I mean, what's interesting about Jockman, I saw Coach, he started his career at 26 years old. So he was a minor leaguer just bouncing around the minors, whatever minors existed at that time. And then he got a chance with the Rangers at only 26 years old. I mean, at 26 years old, which is not young for a hockey player. So I found that interesting. And after, a good career, just for the fans to fill in the gap here, he was waived by the Rangers in 75, which was highly criticized. And Detroit claimed him and then came to the Garden 2 days later and started him, which is crazy. Like, that's insane, So
that is pretty crazy. Didn't
know
that.
the Red Wings beat the Rangers 6-4 in that game, and the fans were chanting for him. So he was a fan favorite and a great Ranger. He's been around the Garden too. Like, did he die recently? I think he passed away, right?
I don't think he did.
I don't think so.
No, because I always see him at the jersey ceremony stuff. He's there. I thought maybe he passed away. No, maybe I'm confusing with Gilbert.
When he came, I think he came out for Lundqvist night and he could hardly walk. I don't think he passed away. But anyway, if you another fun fact is I believe that back then it was the what's the famous junior league in Canada? The QH?
There's 3 of them.
I
WHL,
think
the OHL, and the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League.
I think the Quebec League was the famous place where most players were drafted from back then. I don't even know if one existed in the United States back then. They all just came out of there. There weren't many minor league teams when he was drafted in the 70s. I think they started coming with the AHL. The Rangers had the Providence Reds. I remember the Rhode Island Reds, and it wasn't like the minor leagues they couldn't afford it. There was no salaries, wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, he played in the EHL for 4 years. I'm sorry, 2 years. And then he went to the AHL with the Providence Reds for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons. Then he was with the Baltimore Clippers of the AHL. So 7 years in the minors before he got a chance in the NHL and ended up in the Hockey Hall of Fame. I mean, that's pretty amazing, I think.
Yeah, it's tough.
Just these guys, they work hard, and they don't give up on their dreams. It pays off. This is a story for all the kids out there in the AHL that are struggling to make the NHL. You never know, just keep going and keep working hard. It's pretty impressive stuff. And honestly, his AHL numbers are like not good. They're okay. So interesting.
What stands out in my mind is my mother didn't sit there and watch Ranger games like we do, but she used to hate. He was famous for coming out of the net and handling the puck back in an era where the goalie never left the net, very rarely left the net. Like he'd go into the corner after the puck. He was a very good skater, and my mother used to go crazy. She'd just like be in the kitchen, walk through the living room where the TV was, see him out of the net, and start screaming. That's like one of my memories is my mother knowing hockey as a kid. Get back in the net. Get back in the net.
That's funny. So that didn't happen a lot where the goalies would like
back in the No, back in the 60s and 70s, goalies didn't come out and play the puck. It wasn't
That's really interesting.
very, very different from now, obviously. I mean, even until
Field
Brodeur
says
started
that now
handling
with Igor.
Yeah, but until Brodeur started really handling the puck, goalies weren't known really for handling the puck.
What about Billy
It was
Smith?
very rare.
Billy Smith?
I don't remember him like being nearly as good as Brodeur. I mean, he was more active with the action of the game, like going behind the net and stopping the puck and getting involved physically, but handling the puck and making passes, he wasn't known. I don't think he was known for that. I could be wrong. I don't remember that.
Interesting. Yeah, Field does that now with Igor. He'll come play the puck and whip it up the boards, and it'll go like right to the other team or something, and she'll be like, "Why does he do that? Get in the net."
But anyway, that's what Eddie Jockman is. I have his pictures in my basement right now. He was big back in the 70s.
Yeah,
and of
Eddie
course,
Jockman, he is still alive.
Because his name was Eddie, it was always like a thing. So
yeah, and Coach, he is still alive. God bless him. 84 years old, Eddie Jockman, and he's still around the garden. Comes to the events. So, all right, Eddie Jockman, our first jersey profile. Let's take a quick look on the farm. I put this into the outline for you guys because I want to start tracking Hartford. So Hartford is 4-0 to start the year. They got their 1,000th win in team history, and there's a couple of guys to pay attention to. So Brendan Othman, you guys know I sent you the video. He had a 2-goal game in the win in overtime, and he just got into his first pro fight and handled it pretty well. So we got a scrapper on our hands here. Brett Berard, another prospect, his first 2 AHL goals. And, the goaltending, Louis Domingue is 2-0 with a .96 goals against average and a .967 save percentage. And Dylan Garand, almost identical stats, 1.01, 965. So good goaltending. So Hartford, it looks like they have a chance to be really good this year, which will be good for those kids to, have playoff runs in the AHL, get some experience on a winning team and build a winning culture. I can't remember the last time Hartford was good. So pretty excited about that. Little Ed's going to definitely hit up some of those games. Bro, you're on mute again. For the fans, Little Ed mutes himself courteously.
I wasn't ready to be prompted about the Wolfpack. I'm sorry. No, we got a few games. We got a few games for Stony Brook coming up in Connecticut, so maybe we can line one up. Hopefully, maybe we can catch one or something. Stay the night and then coach the next day or something like that. But yeah, the Wolfpack games are a ton of fun. So if you live in the area, go catch one. They're super cheap, and it's really good hockey. I mean, these guys are pros, and a lot of them are a step below making the Rangers team. That's for sure, or a step away, I should say.
And those guys on that team are going to be NHL players. Whether they stay long-term NHL players or not is a different issue, right? But like Berard should make the NHL at some point. Garand, Othman, these guys are going to be in the NHL at some point. So it's a good chance to go watch them while it's cheap to, and see what the Rangers got coming. Speaking of which,
my big question with the Wolfpack is what I've been saying for probably 5 years, and people might be sick of it. Are they doing the same system Laviolette's playing here? Because if these kids come up, it's going to be an issue that they got to learn the system and get used to it quick. And they're going to feel they're already talking every game about how difficult it is for the players to pick up the system, the decision-making at the speed of the game and everything like that. So they should be working on this in Hartford so they come up seamlessly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Knobloch has to talk to Laviolette about that. And
I'm curious to know if that's what's happening, because Knobloch's trying to make a career for himself as well. They're obviously doing well. My question is, are they using that same system? I'd like to maybe see that. I got to try to figure that out. Look at it.
Yeah. Well, I'll see if the internet has the answers. I mean, they know the amount of people in Hawaii. But speaking of the minors, so the Rangers ECHL team, I believe, is the Jacksonville Icemen.
Yeah.
I think. Or is it
they got rid of? They left. or they sold that team or something like that.
They just did it like in the summer.
I know. I was pissed because I have the jersey and everything. No, it was a couple years ago for sure, but
no, they just announced that Jacksonville was one of their affiliates very recently.
Yeah, I thought I just saw it's Buffalo now. I just saw it's Buffalo.
Not, right?
Oh, they got the Cyclones. The Cyclones, where do they play? Cincinnati Cyclones is the Rangers' new.
So how does that make sense? So all of the players, we shouldn't spend too much time on this, but all of the players that were on the Iceman that the Rangers, quote unquote, owned, are now property of the Sabres?
No. If they have a contract with the Rangers or the Wolfpack, then they will go to Cincinnati. They're part of Cincinnati. But if they were signed
for the Icemen,
if they were signed by the Icemen and they don't have any NHL affiliation, then they're Icemen players.
Gotcha.
Right. But the Sabres will now.
These poor kids, they got to move to Cincinnati. Who pays for this and stuff? You know, they got to find a place to live.
I'm sure the Rangers take care of that at least. Like,
I don't know. I don't know. You hear about how these guys, they talk about that also on the TV about, they're in the NHL. They're not used to, like, they were talking during the Chicago game about Bedard is like, I'll carry my own bag. And he's like, no, in the NHL, you don't carry your own bag. I don't know if you guys saw that. They were talking.
No, that's funny, though.
Ray Ferraro was talking about it.
That's good. That's good work.
Like the equipment manager takes your bag off the bus and everything. And he went to grab and he's like, no, we take care of that. Don't worry about it. He goes, no, I'll carry. No. He was like arguing with the guy.
That's funny.
No, let me carry these. They're my grandfather's. They're pretty old.
So, for example here. Oh man! So, for example, here the Cincinnati Cyclones goaltenders they both have NHL contracts. Olaf Lindbom and Talon Boyko. They're a property of the Rangers. So wherever the Rangers, ECHL team is, they're going to go because the Rangers control their development. Whereas other guys on this team are not. Like, I don't know what half these guys are. They're just signed by the Cyclones, so they would stay in Cincinnati. So yeah, it's confusing, but it's the system they got.
It's a tough way of life for a young kid.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll not to spoil anything, but we might find out a little more information about some of the ECHL lifestyle soon through a guest. We'll see how that plays out. But I'm hoping to pull that off. But anyway, just a little teaser. So prior to the last episode, the Rangers were 2-1-0. Since the last episode, 1-1-0. They sit at 3-2-0 early in the year, 6 points, tied for second in the Metro, tied for seventh in the NHL. A 4-1 loss home against Nashville, just not a good performance by pretty much anybody. And then a 4-1 win in Seattle in the first game of a 5-game Western Canada road trip. So where do we stand? Well, I think last episode, we didn't talk about this guy enough, and he just looks like the 2019 version of himself, Artemi Panarin. I mean, he's getting double shifted. He's dominating. He's going to the middle of the ice. He's passing. He's shooting the puck. He leads the team in shots on goal. This is a different player than last year, even in the regular season, as far as his play, not the points. The points he's going to get, like we talked about it last year, he farts points out. Like, he doesn't need to play like this to get points, but he just looks like a different player. And I'm just curious what you guys think it is. Is it the bald head? Is it the line mates? Is it, a chip on his shoulder from the playoff performance? Like, what do you think, Little Ed?
I mean, I think it's all the above, except for his line mates.
So it's not all the above. It's B and C only.
Yeah. No, I think as stupid as it sounds, I think it's a real thing. He shaved his head, and I think it's just like what he said about the demons is a little silly, but just the mentality where I'm not going to be a goofball. I'm here to play hockey. I mean, I'm sure he is still a little goofball to a certain extent, but I think that's just his way of saying, I need a fresh start. I'm in business. When he came into the league, he had short hair, so maybe it had something to do with that. So I mean, I don't know. Hockey players are weird. They're superstitious. I mean, Panarin obviously is a weird dude. And I think it's working. Whatever his mentality, whatever he did for him to get into this frame of mind worked. And he's got to keep it rolling. And I think you said he farts out points, but now he's scoring goals. And I think that's his like main focus is like be a goal scorer on top of getting all of his assists, east to west passes and things like that. You know what I'm saying? You see him driving to the net a lot more, playing more playoff style hockey.
Yeah, that fourth goal against Seattle.
He used to play when he was a rookie.
His second goal of the game from the right in front of in the slot. I just can't remember Panarin at even strength getting shots off from the slot like that. Like I just don't remember. It's been years. It feels like.
Yeah.
So Coach, how much of that do you think is coaching? Because Panarin in Columbus, he had Tortorella, and he was very successful with Tortorella. And the stigma around players, skill players in Tortorella. But he had a lot of success, particularly with Tortorella. Gallant, more of a hands-off guy. I know Quinn was a little hands-on, but maybe inexperienced. Laviolette seems to be more structured and a little more hands-on. I mean, he's talking about meeting with the players and having like regular meetings with them individually to talk about their games, which is great, I think. But I mean, do you think this Laviolette has anything to do with this too?
I mean, I would say yes. I mean, a player of his caliber, a world-class player, self-evaluation, like Lundqvist talked about it all the time. When you evaluate your process of what you did the year before and how you can get better, like Crosby does every year, that's a big thing. And these guys take it very seriously, obviously, and they want to be better. And he probably is, he's getting old. What is he, 31 now? How old is he? He's getting up there. If he wants to win a cup, he's got to start figuring it out. I noticed from game one, he's shooting the puck more often than passing the way it looks. When he's in the zone, I'm saying in offense. And that goal he got against Seattle, the first one, to me was unbelievable. He if you watch the replay, I said it to Eddie as soon as we saw it, he literally drops the shoulder like he's going to pass it. The goalie commits to the right, and he puts it in short side. So I think he's thinking more on the line of putting pucks in the net, like you guys said. And I'm going to say it's definitely got to be part of Laviolette's influence and his mind and Panarin's mindset together.
Yeah. So speaking of,
as far as the line mates, he probably looks at Chytil saying, "I might as well shoot instead of passing it to Chytil."
Give me a break.
Do you guys think it's to answer your question? He's 31 years old, Coach. But it's only been 5 games. It's only been 5 games, and I feel like consistency is the key here. So, at what point do you say, okay, it's been 10 games? Maybe after 10 games, can you kind of make this decision on how he's been playing, or?
Well, I mean, he's been playing great in the 5 games. We're here to talk about those 5. We're here to talk about those 5, right? And I mean, Little Ed came out with the bold prediction of 100 points this year. Panarin on pace currently for 115 through 5 games. So, Little Ed's looking good with his bold prediction. So I agree with you, Mikey. I feel like when we talk about guys who are struggling, we usually say, hey, this is a small sample. We need to give them more time. Same thing applies if they're playing well. We want consistency. It is a small sample, but he looks like a different player in these games. But anyway, speaking of which, that goal, Coach, that you mentioned, the first one, can we talk about this lighting fiasco in Seattle? We got to talk about this.
Well,
the lights don't work.
Everybody wants the planet to be green. It was probably something with the solar panels.
That's what Quick said. Did you get that from Quick, or you just
I didn't know that.
I think Quick said something like that. He's like, "Oh, isn't this like climate pledge arena or something?" So they're probably trying to save energy. He said something like that. I saw the quote on Instagram. I didn't see the actual interview. So
Panarin, they asked Panarin about the goal, and he said, "For me, I want it darker, so it's harder for goalies. That's why I scored 2 goals." So he's fine with it. He's funny, man. But can we just talk about the ridiculousness of an NHL arena having lighting not work on one half of the arena? The game started. Like, I don't know.
Having to alternate sides and stuff in the third period.
You guys didn't watch it live. Let me tell you. It's 10 p.m., right? It's 10 p.m. I waited the whole day for this game. I sit down a minute and 9 seconds. a minute and 9 seconds into the game, there's a 20-minute delay because the lighting doesn't work. And I'm like, how did they not figure out the lighting wasn't working before the game started?
Yeah, what about like warm-ups and everything?
Yeah, no, nobody noticed. It wasn't until the game started that Trouba was like, hey, I think it's dark over there in the corner. Like, is this normal? And then they were like looking into it. And then they decide to switch 10 minutes into each period.
That's very bizarre.
Has that ever happened before? I know in the Winter Classic, they switched because of like snow one year or something, because snow was piling up in the corner or something like that. But I've never seen anything like that in a hockey game, other than like the Winter Classic type situation. It is bizarre and ridiculous. Somebody needs to get fired in Seattle. That's horrible. I'm sorry. This is a professional game.
Yeah,
and a little more. It created broadcast.
Someone's gonna get fired. Like, how are they not able to fix it?
No, Joe Micheletti said in the broadcast, he goes, I think someone left early, Sam. And Sam goes, yeah, they unplugged something and just left.
Someone forgot to turn the lights on when they left or something.
Yeah, he goes, they unplugged. they took the plug out. It's ridiculous. It was like a 20-minute delay. It was crazy. Anyway.
I remember our coach, when we used to coach at Coney Island, we used to have to switch sides, remember, because the sun would shine through.
Yeah, because they have glass block on the wall.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But anyway,
also, Chelsea Piers was a glass wall too.
So let's talk about that Seattle game. Alexi Lafreniere and Kakko scored goals in the same game. We love when that happens. It is one of our favorite things.
Yep.
And they were both nice goals. I know Kakko's was a little bit of a tap-in, but it was...
Doesn't matter. He's in the right spot.
Right play. Read the play, and he was right there, and he got it, and hopefully his confidence grows now. And Laffy said, you think I'm going to let you score, and I'm not going to? And he has that great play with Chytil. I mean, how good does it feel to not only win the game, but you guys, we want Laffy and Kakko to succeed, right? So, like, Little Ed, like, how did you feel seeing that? You must have been like, yes, like pumped, right? Like,
oh, it's the best. I mean, as soon as you hear their name announced or whatever, it's just, like I said last episode, it's a huge relief on off my shoulders. I can't imagine how they feel scoring a goal and just not having to answer to the media after the game. It's just must be just like a whole different experience, you know, like after the game, you don't have to worry about that. You just go home, have fun, whatever, go out with the team. It just must be, like I said, I mean, they're also away too, so they're probably not getting peppered by the media either way. But you know what I'm trying to say. On a regular night, I bet for them it's just a whole different thing.
Well, you know, that might have something to do with it, that they're away and they don't have to deal with the bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a clear ahead. Like you guys said last week, it's going to be like they're on a hockey tournament. You know, they're away for what, a week? And
2 weeks, I think.
A little less pressure on them because they don't have the media every day in their face.
Yeah.
You know, New York media, I should say. So I think that has something to do with it.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're onto something there for sure. But, you know, I just
only
think
been
that
one game though. We got to wait for the rest of the road trip to actually make an investment.
Yeah, I mean, look, like Laffy had a great first game. Then his game kind of stagnated. He played well. He didn't play bad or anything, but you know, he stagnated for 3 games. But he really stood out to me in this game. The whole line did really. The Panarin, Chytil, Laffy line was just unbelievable all game. They dominated play. They controlled, I think, 91% of the analytics. It was like 91% offensive. So, I mean, they just dominated the play. They had the puck almost the whole time they were on the ice. And Kakko, just to get that kind of a greasy goal, I mean, that needs to be part of his game. You know, he's an elite player as far as like his stick handling. There's no question. You see him dance around the offensive zone for 20 minutes and then lose the puck. He always does it. But he's a big power forward, and he's got to get goals like that too, right? He's got to get to the net and just bang in those loose pucks, especially with Kreider drawing all that traffic. He should score a ton of goals that way. You know, I don't care if they're all scored like that. It's a great it was good to see. It was really good to see.
Yeah.
But also Filipino, coach, with the game of his career, should have had 5 or 6 points in this game. 3 primary assists. I know he had the injury in training camp, but 3 primary assists, and they were doozies. And he could have had a breakaway goal too, but he hit the post, of course, on that great feed from Laffy. He had, I think, 5 shots on goal in that game. Really just stood out to me with a great game. Coach, I'm going to go to you and Chytil. What did you think of Chytil in Seattle?
Not in the doghouses for the second week, so just to give you a little preview. But I'm going with Mikey Produced. I got to see it over a span.
Yeah. I agree. That was a good game, though. I'm happy with that. If that's
Coach Ed's pleading the fifth. He's
had those kind of games in the past, or he's even had a series of like 2 or 3 games that then, he disappears.
That was a career high for him, though.
Yeah, can his head be together to play? Maybe that upper body injury tapered off, and he is getting back into it. And Seattle's a tough team. They're a grinding team. You're not getting anything for free, so it is a good game for them to show that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Little Ed, what did you think of Chytil's game against the Kraken?
The move for Laffy's goal, that was a really nice play. I think they kind of, I don't want to say, I mean, that specific thing, I don't really want to say they work on that specific play, but just like the formation is exactly what you want to see with your forwards, like always staying in the triangle, right, Coach? So as like Laffy passed Chytil the puck and he saw Chytil coming down low, he switched spots with him, and the defense wasn't able, or the defenseman wasn't able to adjust properly, and Chytil also made that beautiful move. So, yeah, like you said, he's got the skill set. He has that nice, quick. I don't know what kind of move you want to call that down low.
Just a shifty like deke,
just like a shoulder, like a shoulder fake. He's also quick. Like his turning is really sharp and quick. So if he uses those types of moves to his advantage, I think that'd be huge. I mean, I think he should stop trying to do like the toe drag moves and kind of stick to those. I think those are his bread and butter. I think that works the best for him. And obviously the post, I mean, come on, he's got to put that in.
Yeah, I know. I was dying. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
It would have been so nice to have all 3 of them score in one game.
He hit it pretty square, though, so at least it was a nice shot, I guess, right? But, yeah. No, he had a great game.
Freaking Laffy should have like 4 assists right now, at least. Yeah. Like he has set up. I think he set up Chytil in another game too. So that's like 2 Chytils. Chytil should have 2 goals on Laffy assists, and I think Panarin.
You should give Laffy points when Chytil should score.
Yeah, they should just give Laffy an assist.
You keep that stat of Laffy's points if Chytil finishes.
Yeah, is that like? Can we make a new stat like goals
expected assists?
Goals, yes, expected assists or assists.
Why? If you can do it for a goalie, why can't you do it for a player?
You probably could. It's interesting. Laffy also. So those 2 Chytil misses that Laffy should have an assist on. Then there's the play against. Was it Seattle? The first, I think it was the forecheck where the first Panarin goal.
He didn't get an assist for that. I thought he did.
No, he doesn't get an assist. He makes the play on the forecheck that frees the puck up. He doesn't touch the puck though, so he doesn't get an assist. And then there was another play where he didn't get an assist, where he stole the puck at the blue line, but like a Tampa. What's Tampa in my mind? A player on the other team touched the puck, so he didn't get an assist on another Panarin goal. So Laffy should have 4 assists right now. He's playing really well.
Should we start tracking that? Let's try and track that.
What, like empty assists?
Yeah, let's track it for Laffy because everyone says he's a bust. So let's see if it's really his fault.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think he should have 2 goals and 4 assists right now, which would be second on the team.
Let's do it. I'll try and pay attention. We got to make it a team effort.
Yeah, so another guy. Go ahead, Ed.
No, that's what I was going to say, the forecheck, but you already covered it. That was a nice play on the forecheck.
When you guys are talking about how Chytil makes that move behind the net, I understand a lot goes on in these odd man rushes and like the Devils play that, the speed game, the turn or the transition game. But in the playoffs, the down low play, 3-on-3 down low, beating the defenseman, making those gritty goals is a big part of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So if they can realize that and come together, and I think, again, you talked about coaching before. I think Laviolette knows what it takes, obviously, to win in those situations. And, we'll see how it goes over the season. That's going to be big.
Yeah, that's something to look for. Definitely, they're playing tighter around the net. I noticed on the forecheck. So, and they're getting to those greasy areas. It's really important. But on the other end of the ice, Adam Fox has been on the ice for 8 of the 15 Rangers goals this year, and 0 goals against at any strength. He's not been on the ice for a goal against. That stat I saw on X, courtesy of at NY Rangers Muse. Interesting. I mean, that's pretty amazing. He's on the ice for more than 50% of the goals and not on the ice for a single goal against. I mean, and he's being quiet about it. He's quiet about it too. He's like not standing out to me at all, you know?
Well, I think we talked about that a few times about how he quietly plays solid D and makes plays in the defensive zone. But it goes unnoticed, I think, throughout the league.
Yeah.
Because he's not that flashy type of player.
Yeah, and then I see EJ on NHL Network does his All-American starting lineup, and he puts Quinn Hughes and Charlie McAvoy as his 2. And then weeks he goes and puts Quinn Hughes and John Carlson as his 2.
That's just absurd. I mean, Carlson's way past his prime. Like, that's
how are you not putting Adam Fox in the top 2 American defensemen right now? I know Quinn Hughes is great. McAvoy's great. They're great players, but they are not Adam Fox. The Adam Fox,
not even the top 4. They could have talked before the show and been like, "All right, you pick these 2, I'll pick these 2."
Right. And
like,
Fox,
not even the top 4.
Fox is a Norris Trophy winner and a Norris Trophy runner-up his first 4 or 5 years in the league, and he doesn't make the top D pair of the Team America. You're gonna go
That's
Quinn
wild.
Hughes and Charlie McAvoy? That's crazy.
Only thing I'll give McAvoy. I watched a lot of the Bruins game. It was on NHL last night. The only thing I'll give McAvoy is physically. He plays a physical game. I think he thinks that first.
Yeah,
playing defense that Fox doesn't. But he's not even close.
The other night,
he's not even close to Fox's
offensive ability.
Or like his hockey IQ. I'm sorry,
cerebral. No,
I give him the physical end of it. He does play a good physical game.
Fox was pretty physical against Seattle, I thought.
Yeah,
no, he's definitely playing. Yeah, Fox is picking it up, but he doesn't throw those kind of hits that McAvoy will go out after, which I don't want to say Trouba-like, but it's close.
McAvoy tossed Seagrass last night or the night before.
It doesn't matter. He's not as good as Fox. I don't care.
No way. I agree.
Close.
I'm saying all I give him is the physical side.
I mean, when you're talking best defenseman in the NHL, like the conversation is Cale Makar, Roman Josi, Adam Fox. It's one of the, and maybe Hedman, but he's getting older. It's really one of those guys. There's no McAvoy and Quinn Hughes. Those guys aren't in that conversation. They're in the next tier. And, so anyway, nothing against EJ, but I tweeted at him and I told him he's still biased because of that program that he never got in the mail.
I packed. It's packed up, ready to go.
Yeah, so maybe he'll amend it. I'll make him amend his lineup.
Maybe they'll take the curse off.
Yeah, I mean, geez, man. Anyway, so
I think he needs to go to therapy. He needs to go to therapy for that one.
Adam Fox, pretty amazing stuff. But all right, so Jonathan Quick, he made his first start as a Ranger. Obviously, grew up in Connecticut, grew up a Ranger fan. He came in the Nashville game. He made 9 saves. I thought he was tested pretty well in that game by Nashville, and he stood tall. So he earns his start against Seattle, and not really tested that much. I thought he was tested more in the Predators game, but did his job. 18 saves on 19 shots. Gets his first win as a Ranger. For all the talk in the preseason about is Jonathan Quick going to retire, he's got to be pretty happy right now, right, Coach?
I mean, again, you look at the players at this level. He's on 3 Stanley Cup winning teams, and they talked about in the pregame in Seattle saying he went to Benoit and said, "Whatever I need to do to make it better to get there, tell me what I need to do." He doesn't have that attitude like I've done it. I'm great. I don't need to talk to this guy. That coachability can bring that guy's career for 3 or 4 more years.
It's not only that too. It's a great example for the young players. He's a guy who's won 3 cups, like you said, 38 years old. and he's going to the coach saying, "Make me better." I mean, that's got to motivate you if you're 24, right? You're sitting there like, what? Like,
that's
that's important.
That's that's a smart player, knowing that his career is near the end and he can extend it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he could be the Rangers' backup for 2 more years.
Yeah, maybe. If he's just good this year, I'll be happy.
Cousin Ed doesn't like it.
No, I'm just saying for himself, for his own,
I want Dylan Duran to take that spot. But, but I like Quick, and I'm happy. Look, the Rangers have a long history of bringing guys in towards the end of their career who have been successful and maybe grew up Rangers fans or grew up in New York or something. Shattenkirk, they brought him in, and it doesn't work out. And so it'd be nice to have a story where this guy grew up a Ranger fan, he beat the Rangers in the Cup final in 2014, and for him to contribute to a team that has success would be a great story, and I'd be very happy to see it. So I was very happy for Quick. And I feel like Igor needed a day off after his game in Nashville. I mean, he was not good in that game.
No, he wasn't.
So he needed to sit and, reset his brain. And if Quick can come in for 25, 30 games and, collect, 20, 30 points for the team, that's a big advantage. So we'll see where that goes. Did you guys see the Trocheck McCann fight?
Yep.
He dummied him, I thought. Like,
it wasn't even close.
Absolutely. Troche got a couple good ones in there.
Looked like he was
jabbing him.
He was working on that in the offseason. He must have taken a boxing class or something.
He boxes or something. He knows how to fight.
He looked like he knew what he was doing all of a sudden.
Yeah,
all of a sudden he got into some good scraps last year, but that one, it was like he squared up. He was ready to go. He threw in some quick jabs, lefts, rights.
Yeah, Sam was saying that he must have been working on his fighting during the market. So it was pretty impressive, I thought. But it's good to end the games before the episode. It's good to end them with for those of you who are listening in the car, Coach Ed just got up and walked away, and I don't know why, but he just got up and walked away. Anyway, it's good to end like the games leading into our episode with a good performance like that. Like if these games were flipped around, I feel like our tone would be much different. It's interesting. It's a lot of recency bias, I feel like, with fandom. Of course. We go game to game. We're up, we're down. It's a roller coaster. So I'm kind of glad that the Nashville game happened Thursday and then the Seattle game happened on Saturday.
Believe your text to us after the Nashville game was, "God, this team is so frustrating."
Yeah, notice it.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, they are very frustrating, man. But then a great game against Seattle.
So that is how the recency bias goes.
Yeah. All right. Let's
boy, this team is so frustrating. Zibanejad is allergic to shooting.
Yeah, he's snake bitten. We haven't really spoken about him. He's snake bitten, right?
I might have to do some Instagram posts inside the group chat.
I feel right.
That's
nice.
I
kind of remember him being snake bitten the beginning of last year too. He started off slow with cold.
Is it the newborn kid thing? Like, can they just time the kids to be born in like June or something? Like, Igor went through this last year with his baby, right? He struggled early. Zibanejad can't score, and I'm sure he's not sleeping much at home. So he's playing well, though. I'm not like critical of his game. I just want him to score. He just doesn't shoot. Like, he gets a clear shot and he's like tries to be unselfish way too much. Just rip that wrist shot, man. Rip it.
Well, let's see if it might improve now that he's on the road and getting some sleep. So that'll be a telling sign. I'm serious.
It's true.
Yeah. We'll see. All right, let's shift over into Coach's Corner with Coach Ed, sponsored by Bella Italia Marble.
All right, boys, bring it in. You threw that one at me. I wasn't really prepared for that coming up right away.
Well, you got up and walked away, so I waited till you sat down again to transition.
Well, anyway, for most of the, I don't know, for my entire coaching career, I always preach defense first, and that things always start in our zone. If you can't get the puck out of your zone, you can't do anything on offense. So Valley was touching on that in the post game, not touching on it. He made a big point of it that these kids have to get back into the zone and get the puck out. One of my big things is what I call, I don't know what the NHL professionals call it, but I call it the defensive side of the puck. That's when you're in a position on a forecheck, on a back check, in your zone, being between the puck and your goaltender. All right. So in other words, if they're doing that, if they're doing the Rangers are doing the 1-3-1 like we talked about, right? The Rangers are going this way on offense, and they have the one player back. When that puck comes up the wall, if the puck comes up the wall to the Kraken player, and this Ranger player goes on this side, he can get beat and chip by and lose control, and they can gain the zone. So what you want to do is you want to be on the defensive side of the puck, not on that side. So if the puck does squeak through, you can still take the body and hold that player up from getting through, and then this other Ranger player can come in and get the loose puck, and it's not another battle. So in all parts of the zone, if the player has the puck on offense, the Kraken player here, if the Ranger player goes in and tries to beat him on this side, the Kraken player gets through. But if you're on the defensive side of the puck, you're now letting that player through and creating an odd man rush. Because as soon as that player gets beat, now it's an odd man rush in the zone. So you have to continually keep it even strength. And it's all about getting position angles to create that defensive side of the puck. Even on a forecheck, if we're in the offensive zone, the puck gets sent hard around. The Kraken player gets it. If this player, the Ranger player, cuts across and gets on the wrong side of that player, the Kraken player can now make a pass on a breakout. But if he's on the defensive side of the puck, it has to get through the player, and then you could still hold this player up from joining the rush. So in all three zones, to me, I call it the defensive side of the puck. I forget what Valley actually called it, but that's a good description of how you need to play in all three zones. Those there's little games within the game, and that's one of them. Line changes are a different story. We had 3 line change penalties in our games in Stony Brook in the weekend, but other than that, that's one of the little games within the game that's very important, a little nuance.
What about in the defensive zone as far as a breakout goes? I mean, Valley was saying, he said he was trying to explain something along the lines of leaving the zone as a 5-man unit. So would you be able to draw something up like that? What he meant by that?
That's one of the big things, again, at every level. And I think because so many of these players are so offensive coming up through the ranks, when they're, because they're the better offensive player until they get to the NHL, then it kind of evens out more. Again, like I said last week, there's top, let's say 50 players in the NHL that are phenomenal and head and shoulders above most players in the league. But then everything else kind of, to me, evens out. And then you have your fourth liner. But I'm saying the middle 6, to me, kind of evens out for the most part, where every team has those young players. They keep talking about these teams developing young players. Every team has these young players now. It's not 1 or 2 teams.
There's a lot of good players in the league.
Yeah, what he's getting at is if the puck comes around the wall, the D sends it around. He's got pressure on. He sends it up the wall. If this center starts heading up north and the wing is out here trying to get an odd man rush, and this guy's trapped and pinned before
leaving the zone early.
Right, before he gets control of the puck, you shouldn't be leaving the zone. The center has to support, and again, it depends on the situation in the game. If it's a tie game, winning by a goal, losing by a goal, this center or whatever support is here should be even so that this player has support, or if he's battling, he could join the battle, again, on the defensive side of the puck. If he joins the battle on this side of the puck and digs in, the Kraken player can get out. Now we have 2 players trapped. So again, position is important. So if you're here, you could chip it to the other Ranger to get out, join that battle, or you could be here for him to kick it out. And now you have 2 wings going out. The Kraken D has to be a little more passive because they're trapped in the zone. So like Valley was saying, until you buy into all 5 players being in, all these players have the speed to get up ice very quick. So there's no need to be hanging somebody. And they also have the speed to, when there is control, to jump the D for that breakaway like Chytil got the other night. Most of them have that speed in the top 6, middle 6. So to cheat is unnecessary and more often bites you in the ass than helps. So I think that's what he's talking about. Everybody needs to be in the zone, read the play, then jump it when there's control, not before.
Yep. And then gaining the neutral zone and entering the offensive zone as a 5-man unit increases your probability of scoring a goal or being successful or gaining the zone successfully, because obviously defending a 5-man unit or a 3-on-2 or a 4-on-2, whatever the case may be, is a lot harder to defend than, say, a 2-on-2 or a 1-on-2 where you only have one guy carrying the puck.
It makes the other team have to make decisions. If there's 5 guys coming at you, as opposed to 2, if there's 2 coming at you, each defenseman looks at each other and says, I got him, and it's an easier game. But if there's 5 guys coming at you, they have to make more decisions.
And it's easier to establish a forecheck because when you have 1 or 2 guys bring the puck out and dump it in, you're not getting set up in the offensive zone. You're not supporting each other offensively either. You notice the Rangers in the last game, I noticed at least, they were dumping the puck in and they were able to forecheck and retrieve pucks because they were supporting each other. Lafreniere makes a hit. There's a guy right there on the Rangers. That's too often lacking with this team, I feel like, on the forecheck. Well,
we talked about that a lot last year, whereas Gallant kind of preached like dump and chase, but they weren't chasing. They were just dumping, like Panarin, Laffy. Well, Laffy, he always skated hard for the forecheck for the most part, but a guy like Panarin would just dump it and then just coast. Or
unless you're getting a line change, a dump in like that without chase is just pointless.
It's pointless. You're just giving the team the other puck.
And the other teams, I noticed it too. These teams aren't the best teams in the league that the Rangers have been playing. I mean, they're going to face some stiffer competition, and they all transition the puck really well. Arizona, pucks fast. Up and out. As soon as they get the puck, it's boom, one pass out of the zone, one pass out of the zone. Every team is playing that way. So you got to get in on a forecheck. And I feel like, Coach, what you're describing to me, and Little Ed too, like the 5-man unit going up, it makes it harder for the other team to transition out too, because there's more bodies, there's more traffic. So
yeah, I mean, look at the Devils last year in the playoffs. Again, we keep talking about the different style of play in the playoffs. That hanging at the red line is only going to go so far because the teams are so good you're playing that, you might get 2 breakaways a game, score on 1, but how many times you're doing that and you're leaving a guy open in your zone and creating a scoring chance the other way? That's another stat that probably isn't around. For all those times that Jack Hughes is getting that, Jack Hughes is getting that breakaway. How many times does he jump in the blue line, leaving a guy open, and the other team's getting offensive zone time more, tiring out your team, wearing down the goalie, over the course of 60 minutes, 5 games, 6 games, that all that stuff adds up. And
there is a stat for that. There is a stat for that. It's puck possession, right? So, I mean, if that happens, you're going to lose the puck.
And I understand that stat, but I'm saying when they're trying to do that play where he's jumping the D and trying to get that home run pass, how many times isn't he getting it and the other team is able to sustain zone pressure?
Yeah, we talked about that last year.
The puck possession stat probably shows that a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about that last year. Little Ed brought that up on that goal Hughes scored against the Rangers, where if he misses that pass or the play doesn't happen exactly that way, the Rangers have like a 4-on-1 or something. I forgot what it was.
Right.
I mean, let's look at it was a power play, so it would have been a 5-on-3 if it
was a huge risk.
Whoever was able to keep that puck in.
Let's talk about just 2 examples that come to my mind. I say it to kids all the time. When Ovechkin was actually bought into playing like that, that's when they won a cup. And look at Jack Eichel. Big example. They blew that up on NHL Network last year about how he matured, how he's in his zone behind the net, working the breakout, and he has the speed to join the play and create offense going down. So when these kids realize that playing the right way, you could still be offensive but still have responsibilities.
Yeah, and they won the cup too, by the way. So good examples.
That's what I mean. When he matured and how he matured in Vegas and got healthy and played that kind of game, they won the cup. It's a big difference.
Yeah. All right, good Coach's Corner with Coach Ed. I think these are very informative, and It's a good refresher to actually look at what's going on inside the game.
It was very nice, so full of information.
Yeah. Let's move to the video mailbag. I understand we have another video from a fan.
Love it.
Hi guys, it's Gozzer1877 here from Birmingham, England, across the pond. So my first question for you guys is, will Lafreniere score more or less points and goals and assists than last season? With his new contract in place, of course. And my second question is for Coach Ed. Now, I've got a problem. I have this lovely Adidas Team Classics New York Rangers jersey, of course, and it says 1979 in it, but I know this particular jersey was used from 78 to 87. The problem is I don't have a player on it yet, and I can't pick one because I wasn't around in the 70s and 80s because I wasn't born. And I'd like to send this to our buddy Oscar to get someone put on the back of it. So, Coach, who would you choose to put on the back of this jersey? And another thing, let's go Rangers.
Love it. I absolutely love it. Fans, keep the videos coming, man. Keep them coming. It's very entertaining.
First question on Lafreniere. Is he going to get more goals and assists this year than last year? He should. I would say yes. I would hope so. I mean, if not, he's not going to be a Ranger very long. So I think yes. I think playing with Panarin and Chytil is a good spot for him. He's with skilled players. No more excuses, right? But the thing that holds him back is power play time. I mean, if you look at the Rangers' top scorers, and this is not unique to the Rangers, their top scorers, Panarin so far, and it's early in the year, 42% of his points have been on the power play. Kreider, 40% of his points have been on the power play. Fox, 80% of his points have been on the power play. Zibanejad, 40% of his points have been on the power play. So when you're talking about guys getting 70, 80, 90 points, and they're getting 40% of their points in the power play, that's 30 points. You know, it's 25, 30 points that Laffy's missing out on because he doesn't play on the power play. He is getting more power play time this year, but he's not playing with Panarin, Zibanejad, Fox on the power play. So I would think, somewhere around 50 points, and that's going to be kind of a ceiling without power play time. It's just the way it is. I don't know what you guys think, but
yeah, it's an obvious stat. We talked about it last year when everybody complaining.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you're correct. But to answer your guys' question, I think he's going to get more than last year just because he's playing with Panarin. I mean, I think it's physically impossible not to get points playing with Panarin unless he's always the first guy in on the forecheck and he doesn't get any assists for that reason.
Yeah, Chytil's going to rack up primary assists because Laffy separates the guy from the puck.
Yeah. Mikey?
Yeah, no, the answer is definitely yes. As long as, like you guys said, he doesn't get those points that could have been, as long as people finish. By people, I mean Chytil. He will. He definitely will, Gaza.
And Coach, what jersey or what player should he put on from, I guess, the late 70s, early 80s? What do you say, 78 to 87 that jersey was?
79 to 87, Coach. What jersey?
79.
Wait, what was the question?
What player should he put on the back of his jersey? The jersey he had was from 79 to 87. They wore that particular jersey.
79 to 87. That's a tough one. I mean, if you're an old-time fan, you could go with the Dave Maloney. 79. Captain
he's
Dave
asking
Maloney.
You're the old-time fan. He's not an old-time fan.
Well, I would go with Dave Maloney.
All right. It's a good one. You might be able to get that signed, too, at the Garden.
Yeah, for sure.
Point.
What about Greshner? Didn't he play in that time? Greshner might be a good one.
Yeah, Greshner was there. He was there with Maloney for the whole time, pretty much. He was probably there longer than Maloney. He went into 85, 86, I would say.
When did Espo play for the Rangers?
76. I think he came in 76 to like 81, 80, 81, I would say, I would guess.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little early.
Still going with Maloney, huh?
I would say as a tenured Ranger, I would go with Maloney. He's still with the Rangers. He's a lifelong Ranger. I think at the end of his career, did he play for Detroit too, Maloney? Dave Maloney, I think went to Detroit.
Buffalo.
He went to.
Yeah.
All right, Gazi, you got your answer, and sounds like Oscar's got a new jersey coming his way.
Love that.
The question is, if Oscar does it right, it has to have Dave on the back, because when they were both on the team, Dave and Don, they had their full name on it.
That's very bizarre.
Because you couldn't put D Maloney because they were both D.
Yep. What about middle?
All right. let's move on into the broadcast banter.
It's a power play goal.
I love it. It's a great shirt. Ed's got the it's a power play goal shirt on with Sam's face.
That's
Where did
great.
you get that?
Where'd you get that from? The blue shirt?
Tennessee Meg sent it to me last year.
Oh, nice.
To wear for our 100th episode, but I forgot last week because we had the opening night shirts. Sorry, Meg.
Nice. All right, I'm going to start us off in last night's game. Kakko scores a goal, his 100th NHL point, 100th. And Sam says to Joe, if he can get himself 10 times 100 in his career, he'll have himself a great NHL career, Joe. And then Joe said, I'd say. Like, what? Is he saying if he could get 1,000 points of a great career? Like, I'm a little confused here. So just hilarious Sam moment.
To me, just the whole banter with the lights on, lights off thing was.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, we already covered that one. That was really funny.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I got one for your list, cuz.
Oh yeah.
Bjorkstrand can really shoot the puck. One of the better wrist shots in the National Hockey League. Then later on in the game, he goes, "Yep, and that's Bjorkstrand who can really hammer it like we talked about before."
He remembered he said it.
Yeah.
Did you see? I created a note for that.
Yeah,
I put that in. Yeah, I put that in there. He also said the same thing about Jared McCann. The same thing. He could shoot it. He could really hammer it. I was like, what are they, just full of great shooters?
Wait a minute.
You're right. One of the best wrist shots in the National Hockey League, Oliver Bjorkstrand. It's not what I think of when I think of a wrist shot.
I feel like they don't even shoot.
Wait, how about the one you guys had to see, the Nashville game, when the guy, what was his name, Cole, came in on the breakaway out of the penalty box, clearly scores. Igor's got his head down, and he goes, glove save, what a save. And he went on the guys are celebrating on the ice until he realized that it was in the net.
And then he goes, he goes, what a beautiful save. And then he goes, it went in. It went in.
Joe doesn't
he goes, I apologize. Who were you apologizing to? The guy who scored? Who you?
To the fans, because he wants to call it well. He felt bad. But he missed that one bad. That was bad. But Sam's a legend. I love it. It's just classic.
Speaking of legends, he had a nice interview on NHL Network Radio the other day and kind of told his story on like how he became the Rangers announcer. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I wanted to share it for the banter. Basically, he was backing up Marv Albert for the radio guy for the Knicks, Kenny Albert's father. And he was kind of just waiting around for his call or for his chance. And they said, hey, do you know anything about hockey? And he's like, yeah, of course I know hockey. I grew up watching hockey. And he got the radio job for hockey and then eventually got the TV job for MSG.
Wow.
So
it's a great story. He worked his way up.
Yeah. And they asked him about it. Like, how's it like now? And he just, he's on not often, but I'd say like maybe like every couple months they bring him on to talk about the Rangers. And he's always very appreciative and happy to have this life. He's like, I just can't believe I'm traveling around. I get to be with the team. And he's just always very appreciative of the life he was given. And I just thought that was really nice.
Yeah, that's great. Again, congrats to Sam. 40 years. Long time.
Yeah, 40 years.
All right, let's move into our stars of the week. Let's do our offensive player of the week. We'll throw a little twist here and start off with Mikey Produces. I want you to lead the charge here. Who's your offensive player of the week?
I'm hoping we go unanimous on this one, but I'm going with number 10, Artemi Panarin.
Yep. Ditto. Breadman.
And I got the emojis this week for you guys.
Back-to-back unanimous weeks.
I got the emojis for you this time.
Oh, I love it.
Nice.
I love it. All right. So Panarin, 2 goals, obviously, in the Seattle game, and just overall dominant play in the offensive zone. Unanimous offensive player of the week. All right. Defensive player of the week. Who you got, Little Ed?
I went with the Trouba train. Leading the team in hits, leading the team in block shots, just playing like a beast every single game, no matter what.
Little Ed, back-to-back Trubas. Mikey P.
Ditto.
Trouba.
All the same reasons.
And I drew the little train with the smoke coming out the stack.
I love it. Good. You should do that. It's awesome. Coach. I can't see your board. It's like a mile away.
After I saw your outline with the stat where he's not been on the ice for any goals, I had to go with Foxy.
Yeah, I love that. I went a little bit different. Jonathan
Quickie.
Nice pick.
9 saves against Nashville and the win in Seattle. So I went with Quick. Give him a little love. All right. Key contributor. The Jesper Fast Key Contributor Award should be unanimous. Will it be unanimous? We'll see. We'll start
definitely
with
not.
Eds. No way.
Definitely not.
Let's see what Coach Ed says.
I got Quickie on that one.
Same.
Jonathan Quick. Oh, okay.
With the brick
I got
wall.
you back.
And you're right, it should be unanimous, but
thank you, Mikey. Thank you.
Mikey.
Chytil with the key contributor. All right.
3 primary assists
in one game. What about the Nashville game?
Nobody did well.
So Quickie only played in the one game.
No,
yeah, that's why he got defense. But that's why he got defensive player of the week.
Yeah, all right, whatever. We're all entitled to our opinions.
Chytil deserves it,
man.
Yeah. Chytil was amazing in that game. All right, highlight play of the week. I'll start us off here. I again give it to Philip Chytil on his deke pass to Laffy. That goal was sick. So Chytil and Laffy share that one for me. What about you, Little Ed?
I went with Trocheck's fight with a boxing glove. Kind of looks more like a mitten, but I did my best.
Oh, good. Okay. Chytil can't get any love on this podcast.
I was going to pick the Heat. I was going to pick the Chytil one, but I knew everyone else was going
I don't know what this guy's to do.
He's
he could drop onto the ice like the fan man in a boxing match and glide on a breakaway and score and then fly out of the arena. And you guys will be like, oh, the chip like Wheeler up the boards on the, clear the zone. Anyway, Mikey, what do you got?
I'm going with Panarin's hand pass one-timer.
Yeah, that was nice.
In the Karken game.
I like that. I like that. He should have got a goal and an assist on that play. Okay, Coach.
All right, I'm going to show a little love. I gave the Chytil pass to Breadman with the little shoulder deke that I talked about before. That pass went across the almost across the entire rink on the tape, and Bread finished.
Yeah, and Coach said before the season started that Chytil was just not a good passer, and then he gives his pass a highlight on the second.
Yeah, well, I got to eat my words sometimes.
I love that. All right, now
we'll see how often that happens.
So everyone's been waiting for this. Coach Ed's Copyright Doghouse Award, sponsored by Suitors Sweet Treats. picture of you on that's ridiculous. All right, Coach. You last week had an empty doghouse. Is the doghouse still empty?
No, it is not. I'm going to go with.
He's got the doghouse out. Hold
Head
it
on
up to
over
the
to
camera.
YouTube to check out the doghouse.
A little closer.
Who's that? Blake Wheeler.
Blake
didn't
Wheeler
have a Rangers card for Blake Wheeler yet. So
that picture, Ed, right there. Look at my head on the side.
Take a picture quick.
I gotta say, I mean, I picked him to get 30 goals, and like you said last week, he hasn't shown much. He's playing tough. He's playing a good game, but I was expecting a couple of a little bit more offensively from him.
I haven't noticed him much at all, and that's not a good thing, really, I guess. So I've been trying to key in on other players and watching how they perform. So maybe I got to dedicate a game or a period to Wheeler.
I mean, I think he's playing good in our zone. He's doing what he's supposed to do. But like I said, I was expecting a little bit more.
Well,
on the
he's
scoreboard.
only making $700K, so maybe that's all you're going to get. And good defensive hockey is all we need from him. So
maybe they want him to just show Cooley what to do and how to play and whatever.
Little Ed, last week you had an empty doghouse. Who you got this week?
I'm putting in the whole team.
I don't know if
I'm allowed to do this, or if you want to narrow it down for me. But overall team consistency. They have one good game, one bad game. One good game, one bad game. So I think just they got to string together. I mean, even if they lose a game by a goal, whatever, it's fine. But they have to string together some good games in a row here.
The whole team. Okay.
I don't know what I gotta do. Team consistency. The ideology of team consistency.
I gotta see the emoji for that though.
I don't got one.
All right. So last week I had Wheeler in the doghouse. I'm leaving Wheeler in. I agree with Coach. Not enough from Wheeler. He just looks a step behind.
I'll put the leadership group in the doghouse.
You put the whole team in. The leadership group is half the team already, so you might as well just put the rest of the team in. I saw a funny tweet. I saw a funny tweet, by the way, during the lighting fiasco. Somebody tweeted out, during this break, the Rangers have announced a 6th assistant captain during the lighting fiasco. It's pretty funny. Yeah. So anyway,
my pick is Wheeler.
You just changed your pick twice.
Come on.
What am I supposed to do? You want to put the whole team in the doghouse? Then do it.
How is Eddie going to keep the stat if you're switching 3 times? There's going to be a controversy now.
I'm trying to get you guys to help me specifically name it or whatever.
Picked the whole team. You picked the whole team.
Team's in.
That's your pick.
He's got the Coach Ed's motel. They're all.
It's a good thing that you're not putting the cards in there. You just put a whole deck in there.
Yeah, my box, my card box is the doghouse.
I had Wheeler last week, and I'm leaving him in. I agree with Coach, but I'm adding in Igor Shesterkin.
Wow.
I thought he was really bad in Nashville. Against Columbus, I let it slide. I felt the Rangers played poorly overall, but he let in a bad goal to Juracek, the young rookie defenseman in Columbus. But, I mean, look, he's got to make a save. This guy, Cole Smith, gets a breakaway. The Rangers aren't playing well. He's got to stop that. You just need that save that to keep the team in it, to give them a chance to find their legs in the game. And Nashville brought it to the Rangers. Not his fault. They lost the game, but, I need more from Igor. And I'm not worried about Igor at all. But I just thought in the Nashville game, he was really bad. Be honest.
I got to agree with you. I mean, I've been on our goalies, that they have to make saves they're supposed to make, and you needed Igor to steal that game and keep a minute to come back in the third period and do something. The Rangers,
at least if they lose, but he keeps it 1-0 or something, and the Rangers are in the game still. If they lose the game, they lose the game. But he's got to come up with a big save to keep him in it.
I mean, it's not like he let Roman Josi steal the show and get a couple of goals. He let a guy who had 4 goals all last season get 2 in one game.
Exactly. All right, Mikey. Last week you had Chytil in the doghouse. Chytil's out, I assume, considering he's your key contributor.
That is correct.
I'm
putting in a player who has 0 goals this season. Mika Zibanejad.
I was gonna do that too, but
just need a little bit more.
Change it again, eh?
No, I'm just saying I was gonna do that too.
Actually,
but
I'll put Zibanejad.
He has been getting assists.
He's
been playing well. It's hard to put him just because he's not scoring, but he should be.
Come on,
scoring,
his penalty killing, the penalty kill.
That's what I mean. It's tough. Yeah, but he should be
Yeah,
scoring.
I like Mika's game right now. I think his effort is there, and I think he shot more last game. He's got to shoot the puck more. That's what it is. Like the goals are going to come, but he's just got to shoot more. You know, he passes way too much. I don't want him to have 75 assists. You know, I don't need that. Like Panarin's going to do that. I need him to have 40 goals. You know, he's got to shoot. Yeah. He's different kind of player. You know, he's really unselfish.
He has the ability, the power play time to be a 40, 50 goal scorer consistently.
Yeah, but he's got to shoot and hit the net. You know, too many times at power play too. He's ripping those one-timers. Everyone knows it's coming, and it goes high and wide and all the way around the boards. Every single time. You know, he's got to hit the net and shoot more. Use his wrist shot. I agree, Mike. Good pick. But I do like his overall game.
You're not understanding. I know you understand. Don't take offense to it. But he's shooting for a spot, and the chance of him hitting that spot or missing it and going wide is like that.
Yeah. All right, Gordon Bombay. Thanks for explaining how it works.
I'm just telling you, it's not like he's shooting
the
it
other
5
way.
feet.
You missed the net completely.
It's not like he's doing a Filipino and shooting it 5 feet wide. He's missing the net.
I'd rather him just get the puck on net hard and low than if he's going to
then you're going to say, he's just shooting it into the goalie's chest. So does it really matter?
He's got to find his groove. But right now he's one-timers to me are telegraphed. He's trying to be perfect, and it's almost counterproductive because it's going high and wide and wrapping hard around, and then Fox is rushing over there and like, oh, can he keep it in the blue? It's like a disaster. You know, it almost clears the zone, or it does clear the zone for the opponent. So, look, I get what you're saying. I agree. He's trying to pick a corner, and it's tough. They're going to start going in for him, but he's just got to keep shooting and on nets, please. Anyway, all right. Let's go to the Rangers at 150.
It's time to throw it over to Mikey P with your Rangers at 150, the fastest 150 seconds in the National Hockey Podcast League.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rangers at 150. Now that we have some games under our belts, we're finally starting to see where teams are shaking out after all those offseason moves. Out west in the Pacific Division, Vegas has started the season 6-0, and they're the first team in NHL history to do so after winning the Stanley Cup. On the other side of the coin, the Kraken and Oilers have absolutely dismal offensive starts and sit at 1-4-1 and 1-3-1 respectively. Vancouver's looked solid defensively despite dropping 2 since we talked last week, but expect them to fall down the standings as Edmonton and Seattle get into their rhythms and their offenses get moving. In the Central Division, to nobody's surprise, the Avalanche and Stars are in the 1 and 2 spots and are 5-0-0 and 3-0-1 respectively. The rest of this division is an absolute mess. Arizona and Nashville each have 3 wins, and St. Louis, Chicago, Minnesota, and Winnipeg all have 2 wins apiece. Like we said last week, Colorado and Dallas appear to be light years ahead of the rest of this division. But somebody has to come in third place, and it's going to be an interesting battle between the likes of Nashville, Minnesota, and Winnipeg for that third place spot, with Arizona and Chicago likely looking in. In the Atlantic Division, the third and final undefeated team in the NHL this season is the Boston Bruins, and they sit atop the division at 5-0-0, followed closely by the Red Wings, who are sitting at 5-1-0. It's all well and good that the Bruins are undefeated, but they've had a fluff schedule so far. They've beat Anaheim, San Jose, and Chicago with only 2 wins against quality opponents in the Predators and Kings. It's worth noting that the Bruins are once again a stellar defensive team. They've only given up 7 goals through 5 games, and despite losing all of that offensive gusto, the legacy of Patrice Bergeron lives on in their defensive game. The Red Wings have been a far more impressive team with wins against quality opponents in the Sens, the Lightning, the Pens, and the Flames, with an additional win against the Blue Jackets. The Leafs and Lightnings have been plagued by serious defensive woes, and Tampa in particular cannot wait to get Vasilevsky back from injured reserve. Their back end looks really shaky without him, and they need him to shore things up. Toronto, as we will continue to say, is very bad on their own end. Their defense is terrible. They have bad defensive structure, and they do not play good team defense. They have good players. They just cannot play defense. So they need to figure that out. If this season keeps up the way it is, the Bruins are going to win the Atlantic Division, as scary as that is. Finally, in the Metro Division, this division has looked terrible out of the gate. Every team has had great games, and every team has had some really terrible ones as well. Carolina's 3-3, but in a very uncharacteristic move for the Hurricanes, they have given up 30 goals against, the most in the NHL by far. The Rangers came out of the gate and smoked Buffalo 5-1, and then despite winning 2-1 against Arizona, their offense was pretty stagnant in the Columbus, Arizona, and Nashville games. The Devils have been great offensively, but every single one of their games has been an overtime or a one-goal game, and they are also struggling defensively. Honorable mentions here, Pittsburgh and Washington have looked terrible, especially Ovechkin on Washington. And Pittsburgh is still going with Jari and net, so they're still not a threat, like, ever. A bunch of games for the Rangers this week. They're on a West Coast swing. They got the Flames Tuesday, Edmonton Thursday, Vancouver Saturday, and the Jets on Monday. It's only one of 2 meetings between the Rangers and these West Coast squads, so enjoy the McDavid show, and we'll see how the Rangers stack up against Western Canada. Till next week, this has been your 150.
Yeah, there's not going to be a McDavid show. He's out.
Nope, he's out.
By the way, Ovechkin, he's right. Ovechkin, no goals so far for Washington in 4 games.
And 0 shots, 2 games in a row. First time in his career.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, great job, Mikey. Thank you for the rundown. I picked against the Bruins. I knew I shouldn't have done it. What are they, 5-0 or something? It's ridiculous.
And
they have a 19-year-old. They have a 19-year-old playing center, second line center.
He mentioned the Bergeron effect still sticking around. They healthy scratched DeBrusque for missing a team meeting.
I was going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up to Mikey because I questioned the DeBrusque situation when he held out in his attitude.
Yeah.
Well, the Bruins are 5-0. The Vegas Golden Knights are 6-0. The Avalanche are 5-0, and the Stars are 3-0-1. Pretty impressive. Detroit also, Coach, you picked them to make the playoffs pretty high this year. They're 5-1 to start the year. Looking good so far for you.
They're doing good.
All right. Let's move on to the trivia question.
Mikey Trivias.
We got a 2-point question.
I studied the stat sheet this time.
This is a history question out of Poppy O'Neill's calendar.
All right.
I'm looking for a name and a year. You get a point per. Who was the first 40-goal scorer in New York Rangers history, and what year did it happen?
Rod Gilbert.
Is that your final answer?
Rod Gilbert, 1963.
Wow. These are all good guesses, but unfortunately no one gets a point. Andy Bathgate was the first 40-goal scorer.
Andy Bathgate's got 40? Wow. Damn.
1958-59.
Wow.
That's impressive. That's a tough question.
Ed Gilbert wasn't playing on the Rangers in 63.
Not according to Wikipedia.
He was on the Rangers in 1963?
That's what it said.
Really?
Yep.
No way. All right, Mikey Produci's coming in hot to start the year. No points for anybody. I'm still up in the cumulative standings by 11, if anyone's wondering. But it's a new season, and it's 0-0-0 across the board.
Wow.
All right, boys. Good episode. Get ready to stay up late. The Rangers are in Calgary at 9:45 p.m. start on Tuesday night. So that'll be when you guys are listening to this tonight. And then they're in Edmonton at 9 and Vancouver at 10, and a decent start a 7:30 p.m. start against Winnipeg. So 3 more late games and back to regular scheduled programming.
It says Gilbert joined the Rangers near the end of 1960-61.
Wow. All right. I didn't know that.
Yeah. See that?
That's what you get for trying to correct somebody and you don't know the answer.
Wait, in the big leagues or joined, like, was signed by the Rangers?
It just says after finishing his junior career, he joined the Rangers at the end of the 60-61 season. He soon became popular with the Rangers fans.
I have a question now that I was called out on that. What sense does that make that they go to Seattle, then to Calgary and Edmonton, then back to Vancouver, which is probably you could drive from Seattle, and then back to Winnipeg?
Well, Winnipeg's in the middle.
I understand.
So it makes sense to go Seattle, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, they should have saved Winnipeg for the Minnesota trip. Whenever they go to Minnesota, they should play Winnipeg because they're near each other, my opinion. Otherwise, Minnesota's just there in the middle of nowhere as far as NHL teams go.
Yeah,
but whatever. Look, it's Sam and Joe said it's a 6,000-mile trip for the team. So a lot of ground to cover.
Delta Sky Miles.
Out of the way early and, hopefully the team can bond and we can get away, If we can get 8 points.
Do the players get Sky Miles for all? Do they get individual tickets?
All right. On that note, good episode, boys. I want to thank you fans for listening and following us on social media. Check us out on Twitter. We've been live tweeting during the games. Check us out on Instagram. Eddie always makes those beautiful posts. And thank you to our sponsors, Suter's Sweet Treats. Those cookies came out amazing. My mother-in-law said she didn't want to eat them, and then I told her, hey, you can spray it with this clear stuff that little Ed showed me, and you can put it in a frame. And she was like, I'm going to do it. And then of course, my wife looked at me like, she's like, Mom, don't do that. Don't do that. They're going to go bad. They're cookies. But she loved the cookies. She didn't want to eat them. They came out amazing. So thank you. And thank you, Oscar, for my jersey. I wear it every day for at least 5 minutes. And I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
I'm just kidding. But,
shout out to Sorrento's on the West End in Long Beach.
Yeah, you got to check out Sorrento's. Check
Bella
them out
Italia.
and Bella Italia for sure. If you need that granite, you're remodeling your home, they got it. And Lucarelli Law, dude, Dom, hilarious. Called me about fantasy hockey. Next week we'll update you guys on the standings of our fantasy league. But he called me today and asked me how to add a player. So he should tell you what you need to know about where his team's at right now. But I helped him. I explained it to him. So we'll see. I look for some.
I beat him this week. I'm not proud of it, but I beat him.
Hey, you took care of business.
That's it.
ECB.
All right, boys. Until next time.
Guys.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. Have a good night.